This has been going on now for like almost a week. So this girl was part of this bullshit VTuber organization that is basically, you know how we said that they didn't have slavery anymore? Well, I mean, these guys don't really have slavery, but they're trying to get pretty close. And so she leaves the org, they trash her, and then this has been going back and forth.
Hey, what's up guys, Rep here. So today we have some big updates regarding the ongoing Niji-Sanji situation. We're going to cover two topics, the first being a very serious response that Dokibird has posted onto Twitter this morning regarding the message that was sent by several of the Niji-Sanji Ian livers 2 days ago. And second, we're going to cover some updates regarding the Niji-Sanji Ian liver Scarlet, who many people are concerned about based on some activity over the past couple of days. Now, we're going to start with the Dokibird update. So, as you know, a couple days ago, she was set to stream her first Neopet stream, and this was quickly interrupted by a message posted by Alira Pandora onto her YouTube channel. This was a joint statement between her and fellow Ian livers Vox Akuma and Ike Eveland. This was a statement that was attacking Selen, aka Dokibird, and to give you the too long didn't read version of events, essentially these three Niji-Sanji Ian livers threw Selen under the bus. They painted her as a liar, and they focused on a legal document that they all viewed and saw as a threat to their personal safety because they believed this legal document prepared by Selen and her lawyer.
Well, I think also like one element of this that needs to be kept in mind is that whenever you work for one of these like VTuber agencies, they have pretty much complete autonomy over what you're doing with your avatar and with your online presence. So what I think happened is that the people that run the company put these people up to going out and shitting on her. I think that it was something that they kind of had to do.
Was something that contained personal information
that's what would make
that could
sense.
lead to their public doxing by Selen and put their safety at risk. Now, this, as it turns out, is a legal document that Dokibird never intended anyone other than the legal parties involved to see. So the fact that these three livers saw this was very concerning to Dokibird, and when she found out about this statement that was released as she was live streaming, very intentionally by Niji-Sanji, she would have this to say.
Yes, I really wished I really wanted to move on from all of this, was going to move on and everything.
That's so awkward.
And was never going to address this anymore. But because they've decided to address it, even though I wanted
she
everything
has to say something, yeah,
to be over with, that is not my fault. And because of this, I will have to respond with a document that my lawyer has written and I have written up.
Bro,
just
she
in
had
case
it on.
Something like this did happen.
So after making those
she had it on
comments,
deck,
she
man.
would quickly end her stream where she'd be quiet on social media until this explosive post she made this morning on Twitter. So let's give it a read.
Activated her trap
I was ready
card.
to move on. I had made my last statement, and I haven't looked at anything regarding my past for a full week. I didn't look at anything regarding legal documents or anything regarding my situation since I moved back to Doki. I wanted to be hopeful for the future and never interact with that side again, so to see all come back and reopen a wound that I was ready to heal from and to have to talk to my lawyer again on how to respond. The document mentioned was at first made to document my thoughts and history with evidence so that my lawyer can see the...
I think that they're just trying to they're trying to twist the knife as much as possible, and they're trying to make it as unpleasant for her as possible. Even if they're going to lose in the situation, they want to make her life as bad as possible in order to set an example out of her so other people don't do the same thing.
General picture of what was going on, and if there were any issues that
39 Daft called her a liar. Where's the clip of that?
Be addressed. It was first made during my darkest time mentally, and I wrote everything on my mind by little at that time. I made the document thinking that it was never going to be public to anyone but my lawyer, although it was a document filled with my personal information as well as privacy information that should not be public. there were no other addresses or specific locations mentioned regarding a recording. This
Somebody says it's a latest fall side video. Yeah, I'll look at that after he finishes reading.
Was not intended to be anything other than a distribution test for planning of a collaboration event between two people, which happened to be left over from one test recording. And I never recorded any other conversations with anyone. The recording was never shown anywhere, even in a legal setting, and there are no other records. However, I regret that it was mentioned, and I am sorry to all the parties affected for the misunderstanding in this. She goes on to say,
yeah, I mean, this is just like, let me go back, and I'm gonna go look at this and see real quick what the Daft thing was.
Cheering on the Aluna debut for Niji-Sanji English. Daft being a part of numerous Niji-Sanji streams alongside other agency VTubers, as yesterday Daft would speak on the subject of the Selen Tatsuki termination, or more specifically about Doki Bird, the talent behind Selen Tatsuki, who yesterday on Twitter posted what could potentially be her last statement regarding that termination from Niji-Sanji English.
Daft logs strike again.
Known to chat with her viewership in her offline chat, yesterday remarking on the situation and having a few choice words regarding Doki Bird. This not being the first time that Daft's offline chat records have attracted attention, as some remarks that she had made in her chat in December of 2021 were seen by...
It's like, you know who she should be thankful for is Bruce. Is because everybody used to call her out for this, but then Bruce came in, he said, hold up, wait a minute. I could do you one better than that. And now everybody just talks about Bruce instead.
Some viewers as insensitive. Daft at the time and many times after going on to say that there was no wrongdoing on her part, despite one of have the 39 Daft log, which we may interject from time to time to clarify with information as we know it. This log meant to be read scrolling up, as Daft would begin with Jesus. I'm reading the Doki Bird thing, and it's so strange. If she has proof of the harassment that people refuted, why does she not show it? Her tweet, I don't know. I just don't buy it, to be honest. Don't know, but it makes no sense why she thought it would be private. If you specifically named individuals that bullied and harassed you within a company, they will be sent the documents relevant to them. Daft at this time referring to no law or HR practices where that ever happens. From Niji's tweet, you can infer these people all had their specific documents individually sent to them. And at this time, we're not aware if there are individual documents or just a singular document that the Niji-Sanji livers had seen. Daft continuing, and she seems to not understand that, so I have to assume these people disagreed with what they considered harassment, which she worried over. Because I genuinely also don't understand how you can file a court case and say you want to move on as if it's not ongoing. I'm sorry, girlie, that's not how legal matters work. You can't decide on a whim when you want it to be convenient. Seemingly unknown to Daft, there has been no word from either Niji-Sanji or...
I think that really, like, having it be out of the public record is kind of different than having a legal thing happen. Like, for example, like, you probably don't want to have something going on where everybody's talking about it in a public setting and, like, bringing it up to you constantly. But, like, you might want to have something resolved legally at the same time. Also, if she posts the pictures of her getting harassed that she says that she has, number one, she probably plays a card that she's told by her lawyers not to play because they're going to use that as evidence in whatever the court case is that they're planning on having. So that would be effectively, it's like you don't want to show your hand whenever you're playing Magic the Gathering to the person that you're playing against. I think that this is probably, number one, the reason. Number two, the reason is that it could also cause these other people to get harassed that would then have her turn. So this is the chain of events that would happen, is that she would post the information that would, demonize a few different people, and those people get harassed by her fan base and people that support her. And then the people that are harassing the people that harass Doki Bird are getting, like, they go so far, they're like, oh, we're going to kill you, we're going to dox you and do all this other stuff. Then Doki Bird is seen as the person who is responsible for these other content creators being harassed and, like, basically, like, getting doxed or something like that. So it would indirectly like make her into a villain in the eyes of some people. So it's like, basically, if she goes and she says who it is, those people will get harassed, and then it will be like kind of equal grounds because they harassed her, and then she also indirectly harassed them. Now, I don't agree with this line of logic. I think that whoever drew first blood is wrong and whoever responds isn't. Self-defense, stand your ground, brother. But that's not how people on the internet see it. And that's not how some people on the internet will see it. So whenever one of these people gets attacked and they start explaining how, oh, well, I have PTSD from this happening, and, oh, all of these Doki Bird viewers went and harassed me, like, that's 100% what they're going to do, right? And they're all going to kind of, like, start saying the same thing about her. They'll spread these lies about her and make her look bad. So it's something that you really only want to do as a last resort. I'm not saying that she shouldn't do it. I think that that's something that you should only do if you can't do anything else. And also, like, probably the real issue is with the company itself and not with those people.
For Doki Bird, that there is an ongoing court case
that's the
that has
reason
been
why.
filed. We're only aware that the legal representatives between Nijisanji and Doki Bird are exchanging documents. Also, you can't accuse dozens of people of harassing you without proof when their livelihood is directly affected. Then conveniently withdraw said proof, citing privacy, saying legal reasons makes more sense. It's weird. Yeah, there's...
I mean, Daff is kind of right there, that it does really suck that, like, you're just being accused of this and there's no evidence of it and people are believing it's true. Like, she is kind of right about that.
Just so much not adding up on her side. So I'm really suspicious, and the mob mentality makes it worse. Nah, one side is way more sus. No, because they're refuting what she served them. They're not forced to do anything, nor can they lie. It's a serious legal matter. And of course, for the record, companies absolutely can, will, and have lied. To assume they did...
Well, they actually are communicating through their content creators, I think. And so as plausible deniability, like, for example, like that Ilaria Pandora girl, like her stream, I would view that as communication of the company.
Because of Niji incompetence is nonsensical. Mother effer, it's effing legal shit. Then imagine, why did they say no? Why did they volunteer? This likely referring to the 3 Nijisanji livers who stated their views during a 15-minute stream hosted on Nijisanji English's Illyria Pandora's channel. No, there's only one reason. It's insane cope to think that they were forced by Niji or just attributed to incompetence. It's a serious legal matter. They cannot be coerced or lied. These livers...
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't think so. And also, just because it's a serious legal matter, I mean, it was a serious legal matter of sharing somebody's medical documents, but they seem to do that too. So I don't really think that that's something that they're really afraid of. I think it's something that they do on their own. Like, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of times where people will do something, even if not necessarily it's told to them directly, but that they know it will be beneficial for them in the long run. Like, a really good, this is like a quote from like George Carlin that I think is extremely true, is that you don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. And I also think that they were told. I think so. Because there are plenty of different ways that you can say something, and then, like, the courts aren't going to figure every single little instance out. They're probably not going to subpoena every single, social media account that you had. They're probably not going to subpoena, maybe personal phone numbers for something like this because it's not as serious. So there's a good chance that they could just be communicating maybe over a Discord call or anything like that that's not recorded. Like, just because you can't do something legally doesn't mean that people won't do it, especially whenever they're fighting for their life. This is like a serious situation for this company. They've lost like over $150 million in valuation. I think it's crazy to assume that they're not going to try to play every card they have.
Being, of course, human beings, yes, they can be coerced and they can lie. It means the documents claiming harassment...
And also, like, there could be... There's a massive spectrum of inducement that you can create to make a person do something. And coercion is only one small component of that.
to the individuals are debatably flimsy. Sorry, I don't buy it. A big corporation failing, sure, who cares? But the livers within them who will have people mobbing after them forever over a he said, she said, but one side has burden of proof. So if they show said proof, LOL, it's over. That makes no sense because why the F would they willingly admit they bullied her? It means they disagree with the legal documents claiming harassment. But regardless,
well, yeah, they're obviously not going to admit that they bullied her. I mean, clearly.
It's not adding up for her. And now Niji has proof of what she claimed was harassment, which I assume she didn't know would be shared because she didn't think the individuals would be notified that she made each person a unique document documenting said harassment. Again, no confirmation at this time that there are any individual documents made for each liver, nor again any precedent mentioned here that those would be directly shared between Niji Sanji Legal and the livers directly themselves. Which
was also a violation of the HR policy in Canada. I looked this up and it said explicitly any sort of documentation that goes through HR shouldn't be shared with other people, especially not the subjects of the investigation. Like, I mean, it literally just says it.
Lamau, basically someone's lying, or has a very, very debatable definition of harassment. No one seems to be pointing it out either, because anyone who mentions it gets called a bootlicker. Like, dude, these are other streamers who just happen to work for that company. Who gives an F about the company? Numerous livers at this time actually going on record on stream, directly defending the company. It's ironic she said she wanted to move on, but it's an ongoing court issue involving dozens of people who will refute said harassment happened because their reputation is on the line. Yet,
well, that's not really an argument. I mean, she's basically saying that they're going to lie because it's in their best interest. It doesn't mean that they're telling the truth or that they're going to say something because it's in their best interest. Yeah, I don't think that's really a good argument. Of course they're going to do that.
Conveniently, she refuses to show proof. No one even asking the right questions. That none of this makes sense from a legal perspective. Dude, if I make a tweet and point out the inconsistencies, I'm going to get mobbed. Basically, Doki Bird is suing Niji Sanji and individuals within Niji Sanji for harassment and had documents detailing proof of harassment for each person she accused. So Niji Sanji sent those respective documents to each streamer she accused, which she did not expect. And the people, those three specifically in that video, disagreed with the contents of the document, meaning they do not believe they harassed her. I think she's going to drop the case. The public hasn't seen it, but the individuals being accused have, and they disagree, which says a lot about the contents. Hence why I think she's going to drop it, because it's easily...
I don't think so. I think that they wouldn't have apologized to her, or they wouldn't have... like, if somebody had said that I harassed them, and I knew what they said, and that they thought was harassment, I would be like, you're full of shit, show the proof. Show everybody else. Because these people could also... So think about it from this line of logic. If these people know what Doki Bird says is harassment, then couldn't they show it themselves, what was considered harassment, to make her look ridiculous? Because they like... So the implication here is that it was shared with them. And so couldn't they defuse the idea that they were like harassing her by just simply providing the same evidence that that was provided by them, provided to them by Niji Sanji? You see what I'm saying? Because, like, if I were them, that's what I would do. Like, the moment that I heard that I'm being, sued for harassment or something like that, I mean, assuming I don't just shut up and let the legal case do its job, but they're clearly not doing that by making these public statements, I would just put out the information myself. I would say, this is what I said. This isn't harassment. I said nothing wrong. And so clearly both parties know what the content that is being disputed is. Like, both parties know this is what you're talking about whenever you refer to harassment, and this is what I said that you think was harassment. There's not like a miscommunication there. So couldn't they just very simply and easily post that same thing themselves? Because, again, it's not even her evidence, it's their evidence, because there would be conversations that this person would have with them.
irrefutable. Again, I don't think she thought those individuals would be sent their respective documents, which is really dumb. LOL, yeah, she would still get a lot of support, but I guess any kind of pushback is bad. Yikes, she effectively slandered dozens of people with no proof to public. Dokibird only mentioning bullying within the actual company, but in no way mentioning...
This is problematic, and Daft brings up a good point here, that a lot of the people that were in Nijisanji EN probably didn't harass her. Like, there's multiple streamers that are probably in that community that had nothing to do with it, that are getting the negative blowback for something that they didn't deserve to have happen. That is true.
If it involved...
She didn't say name, though. She just said Niji, and that it was the livers. I understand that. But whenever you paint with a broad brush like that, you clearly are going to have people that are collateral damage. That's just the truth. I'm not saying that she's wrong for doing it, but this is the outcome from doing it. It was Niji who leaked it? That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, God, I forgot all about that. It's so stupid that, like, I don't even, like, okay, so, like, let me try to wrap my mind around that. She said that she was slandering in that smear document. Doki was just happy to be back on her old fucking model. The whole statement about Niji made. Daph isn't refuting anything Doki herself publicly said. Yeah, so they were the one that said that she got harassed. Well, then, yeah, it's obviously, like, she never wanted to name those people. But even in that case, I want to say, even in that case, any of the people that genuinely think that it's not harassment know what Dokibird thought was harassment. And they're not publishing it either.
One or multiple individuals, or whether it was the livers themselves, or management, or both. And she can actually be countersued, so good luck. I assume it's a bunch of Niji streamers. The tweets imply it's more than 3. While it could be more than 3, there are no tweets implying that it's more than 3, or giving any kind of number whatsoever, as in regards to this bullying. But yeah, it would be stupid to throw myself into the fire, but it's also very infuriating watching people ignore glaring holes in the story. People are being witch hunted. If you're suing a specific person under a company, they can be shown their relevant documents and must be notified. No, the company didn't leak shit. They just told the people, hey, you're being sued. This is why. Here's your papers. Then next person. Here's your papers. Different papers. I'm not gonna lie, there's absolutely no reason they would share her medical. She wanted to sue them without them finding out exactly what she was suing for. Them meaning individual members, which is insane. Yes, not adding up like I said. This is a legal matter, LOL. They need to be notified and showed exactly what they're being sued for. Mob mentality, no thinking, just react angrily to big corpa. The spicy part is whether or not they have to keep their alleged harassment documents private is up in the air, LOL. Like, they may or may not be able to show it, which would completely backfire on her. So it makes...
Well, it wouldn't if the harassment was legitimate, and that could be the reason why they're not showing it. Because if Nijisanji really thought that it wasn't legitimate, couldn't they just show the document? Because, like, they've already made public statements on it. So, like, they're already diverging from what a legal, like, from what legal counsel would tell you to do. So it's illogical to me that they would make public statements on it, multiple public statements on it, argue with her publicly about it, you know, through their content creators and also in their public channels, but then not just show the evidence that indemnifies them from doing this. Because I feel like that's what they could clearly do.
Since they want to come out and defend themselves, she kind of publicly slandered and caused a witch hunt. So it makes sense they want to come out and defend themselves. Unfortunately, no one has any thinking. This seemingly ignoring that it was Nijisanji themselves who had brought forward the charges of harassment given to them by Selen.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that part. So yeah, it's not even Doki that did this. She didn't even want this to be public in the first place. The company brought the entire thing up on their own.
If it's not dirty
That's
laundry,
crazy.
it means she named those 3, but there's more. But they're going to get witch hunted. They volunteered, so there's only one reason then. That means they found the accusations effing insane and felt strongly enough about it to go live refuting it, despite the...
Well, then show the proof, right? I mean, like, Doki Bird, you're saying that Doki Bird needs to show the proof, but why don't they? I mean, I don't understand this. It's pretty obvious, right?
mobbing, which is why she doesn't want to show proof, because the proof is flimsy, which leads me to coming to the conclusion.
Well, that's also something, they're not showing proof either. Neither of them are showing proof. And if neither of them are showing proof, it probably means that they're not doing it for a legal reason, rather than them not doing it for, you know, they think that the proof is either too good or not good enough. I think that they're not doing it for a legal reason.
The quote-unquote harassment she got was debatable. It doesn't make what she felt any less valid, but it raises concerns of who and how the harassment was and how justified the mobbing is, which it isn't. So, it's gonna go bad for her. No one sees it yet, I guess. Well, a few people maybe, but drowned out by an angry mob. Dude, it's literally decipherable from the video and tweets alone. I don't know, I'm really riled up that you can basically slander a group of people, I don't give an F about the corpa, withhold proof that you had to gather for your case, and just say you want to move on. That's not how a...
Well, I mean, again, she didn't slander them. If Nija Sanji was the one that made it public, then why is it her responsibility? Like, she didn't even do it. Like, you should be mad at the at the corpa for that, because they were the ones that made it public.
Legal case works. If there was a genuine drama VTuber, he'd be asking the same questions I'm asking. LOL. Quote-unquote journalism in a nutshell.
Uh-oh.
If I had to guess, wait, I don't need to guess. They said to themselves, there's info in there that doxes them. But if it goes to court, it'll be public in Canada, if I remember correctly. I hope they do show it. They can show it regardless if the case goes through or not. They definitely should, but I think they're just taking their time. But it's also stronger to drop it as a whole, and they're hesitant because it contains private info. Anyways, it'll come out in time. I think she's screwed down the line, though. Those offline chat comments lasting for over 45 minutes.
That's a lot.
As returning back to Doug.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that what she's saying would be more valid if... It would be more valid if Doki Bird was the one that leaked that she got harassed. But because Nija Sanji was the one that leaked it, then it totally goes out the window that Doki Bird has any sort of responsibility to justify these claims, because she never made them in a public setting. That's insane. It's like Daft probably has friends in Nija Sanji. Maybe she knows more about it than the public does. And because of what she knows privately, she thinks that, you know, she has a different perspective on it. But, like, again, like, I'm not going to write a blank check, okay? Like, if I can't see it in public, I'm not just going to assume that, oh, you know more than, you know, than the public does, and you're right. I mean, I that's not what's going to happen. And she's also friends with them, too. So I wouldn't really take it all that seriously. I think that she brings up a good point, that it's disappointing that a lot of people are getting harassed in the org that probably had nothing to do with this. That's actually true, and she's right. But the truth is that it's not Doki Bird's responsibility to remove that problem, because she never caused it. She did directly, I mean, by filing the lawsuit, but she never made that public to just like the general public. This was a lawsuit that was filed. And also, if any of the people that were named in the lawsuit, that this information was shared directly with them, along with the instances of the harassment that they consider not harassment, they would be able to show that evidence now if they truly believed that it wasn't harassment. And I think that logically, the reason why they're not is probably just because of legal reasons, but also it's because that maybe it's harassment, maybe it's not, but it's probably just bad behavior at least. That's what I would assume. Japan defamation law makes it so a company can be sued even if the statement is true, so long as they can prove malice. Defamation will stick. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. Doki's never said anything. She'd file a lawsuit, and neither has Niji. Well, I'm saying that like this is what was stated in like her logs. This is all on Nijisanji. They created this entire problem. It's insane that Daph is this hostile to Doki. Well, she probably knows more about the situation than we do, and she's also probably hearing about it from her friends that are being negatively affected by it that might not have had anything to do with this. So it's like, I think that you should just always assume that like people that are friends with somebody else, like there's going to be a certain degree of bias. Why assume she knows more? Because she's friends with those people, and I just assume that those people and her talked about it privately. That's logically what I would assume. Like, if I was friends with them, I'd ask them about it personally. Sure. But yeah, I mean, if Nijisanji is the ones that made the issue public, then I'm sorry to say, but that's definitely their, that's their problem, right? The legal fight would be interesting. It would be Japan law versus Canadian law, probably. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Requested that I just wanted to move.
We've already gone through a lot of this, so I'm going to just go ahead and skip forward.
Lawyer was not something to be shared with anyone other than the legal representation for Nijisanji. But as we have already seen, there are at least 3 EN livers from Nijisanji who have reviewed this document against the wishes of Dokibird. And further on, this seems like a very clear path for Dokibird that she is only going to respond to things that are already being said. It's very clear from the jump here that the second they found out about this legal document, they immediately terminated her. And ever since, Dokibird has wanted to keep this thing private, but every time Nijisanji makes a public statement against those wishes, she is going to respond in kind, and hopefully this response, made only a few hours ago, will be the last of this public...
It won't be. I guarantee it. This is going to go on for a while.
...side of this entire situation.
And the reason why is that Nijisanji will probably drag it out on purpose to twist the knife for her even more, because they know it's stressing her out. And that's the reason why, for example, they went live at the same time that she did. There's a certain degree of psychological warfare there. If I was Nijisanji, that's what I would do.
But, of course, we've seen Nijisanji continue this situation and to continue bringing this up publicly, so I don't have a lot of faith in that, but we'll have to see how things play out. Now, there's also a running meme right now on social media where people are tracking the subs of Dokibird and Alira Pandora, where the joint statement was made. That was the channel was made on, where there's a race to 550,000 subscribers on YouTube, where Dokibird is trying to gain subs.
Going in different directions.
And Alira is losing subs towards that number.
So fucking
and right
funny.
Now, here's the official tally. You can see Dokibird at 529,000 subscribers, and you can see Alira Pandora at 574,000 subscribers. Obviously, Dokibird gaining massive amounts over the past couple of days, Alira losing a lot. And you can see it right here. Ever since the joint statement was made
minus
on the 12th,
14K.
she has lost
Jesus.
over 20,000 subscribers. And that is the result of really the placement of this video, the fact that it's on her channel, her defending Nijisanji as well as the defending of Nijisanji by other EN livers. This is the most recognizable place you're going to see the damage taking place, because that's where the video was uploaded instead of the main Nijisanji channel. And also people are just upset about what was said in the video, so that makes things even worse. But moving forward, we know she's not the only one losing subs. Nijisanji as a whole is hemorrhaging subscribers ever since.
Yeah, and this is the point that I was making before, is that I guarantee you that most, if not the vast majority of the people on this list probably didn't have a lot of interactions with Dokibird, or probably at least most, right? Over 50%, probably didn't harass her, probably didn't have any interactions with her or anything like that. And I feel kind of bad for them that, like, they're kind of getting lumped in with this because of the actions of their org. That does suck.
The termination announcement, but it's intensified ever since the joint statement. People are really angry at Nijisanji as a whole, and a lot of the livers in the EN branch. Right now, we have hit over 150,000 collective subs lost by EN livers from Nijisanji. That is a huge number, and a lot of it has to do with this right here. So ever since the statement was shared by Alira onto Twitter, she shared the YouTube video with her statement, it has been reposted by virtually the entire EN roster, which has made a lot of people look at the parties involved here a lot differently. Now, there were a few people, a very short few from Niji Sanji EN, who did not participate in this sharing of the document, and that was Scarlet.
So you see how every single one of them retweeted and reposted this? How the fuck can you think that this wasn't a coordinated action on a company level? Like, of course it is. It's obvious. It's so fucking like of fucking course it, like the company literally owns their existence.
Not participate in this sharing of the document, and that was Scarlet. Scarlet was one of the main people that was being focused on. This was something I covered in a video uploaded to my alt channel. You guys can check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. But to sum that up very quickly, she essentially took action by taking action and also not taking action. When I'm referring to that last part, she was one of the few who did not share Alira's message on Twitter. However, the action she took was a very simple one, a simple click. She hearted a comment on her channel saying Kuro Sanji, which means black company, which is what Niji Sanji is being accused of. A black company is a company that exploits the workers that
oh boy,
and they don't care about their well-being, and it's all about
oh boy
line and making money. And that's what Niji Sanji has been closely affiliated with ever since the termination of Selen. However, that comment would be unhearted and the comments locked on that video. But since then, really, Scarlet had been MIA, and it reached really the 24-hour mark where people started a hashtag much like the Selen hashtag, hashtag where is Scarlet, because people were starting to get nervous as to where she was because she had gone silent on social media.
Yeah, she's probably getting ready to get fired.
Got increasingly concerned when she did not show up for a members-only stream. As you can see from this image here, the chat was disabled for the live stream, which is very unusual, and she was also extremely late, and as we know, she wouldn't turn up at all, which is also extremely rare. But at one point, there was over 6,000 people sitting in the waiting room for her streams, and that wasn't the only stream.
People love
she was
drama.
Supposed to have a regular stream as well, which she also did not show up for, but as you can see, it has been rescheduled for February 15th, but she did not show up to 2 streams.
Did it happen? It's the 16th now. Did it happen?
People were worried. However, it seems we have some answers as to her whereabouts. This individual on Twitter claims to be a friend of Scarlet, and he said that he had a phone conversation on Discord where he learned several things. Number one, she's okay and that she is staying currently with her mother, and she's taking a break from the internet, and she is not going anywhere. She's not terminated or anything like that yet. She's just taking a brief break.
She's not terminated yet.
And that is something that was reflected in a members-only community post that was uploaded onto YouTube by Scarlet. Of course, that is a members-only paywalled post, so I can't show it, but it basically reflected everything that was just said. She apologized for worrying everyone and that she was staying with her mother and that she will be taking a small break from the internet and she'll be back soon to, once again, stream. But that is the update on where Scarlet has been and the update on the Dokibird situation. I highly doubt this is the end of the Niji Sanji related drama and situation, but as always, I'll keep you guys posted in the near future if anything pops up. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, what's up, guys?
I do think that I think the craziest part about this whole thing, I'll link you guys the video. The craziest thing about the whole thing is the fact that Niji Sanji were the ones that published the data or the information that their own employees were harassing a former employee. Like, that to me, like, that's like the wrench in the machine where, like, it's like, hold up, wait, what? Why would they say this? And you know what I think? I think that they said this so that they could remove those employees and then blame it on them. I think that's the reason why. So they can preemptively separate accountability from themselves versus those people, and then use them as like target dummies or, some sort of a meat shields, expendables, right? It's like, well, let's fire them, and then that's it. Vox and Lear are some of their biggest cash cows in the end. Oh, yeah, no doubt they are. But if they're losing did they making more than $156 million? Probably not, right? And so it's probably still worth getting rid of them if they need to get rid of them. And so, yeah, they want their stock price doing that if that's the plan. 20% tank so far. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's rumors Ilaria is the main translator for communications, so she has a huge influence on management. Maybe that's the case, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing this. I don't think this is going to stop or like go away in the next day or two. Doesn't make sense because none of it needed to happen at all. Doki wanted to quit and they fired her and leaked the information themselves. Well, yeah. Well, the reason probably why they did that is that they don't want somebody to quit unless they have control over it. They probably didn't like her, or the way that she quit was something that they didn't like. And for whatever reason, they didn't like that. And so they just went and tried to make it as bad as possible for her. That's about it. I mean, I feel like that's what makes sense. They wanted to ruin it. Yeah, they wanted to make her look really bad. Do you think Legal will cover the case? Yeah, probably whenever it actually becomes more public, for sure. They could have creative difference and in there. Anyone can graduate anytime. Well, you can graduate, you just can't leave, you know? That's the difference. And I can't make a case out of nothing. They wanted her to not be able to do her job without them, and it backfired. Exactly, yeah. Because companies like this, as I've said before, and I got a lot of hate from some of the people in like VTuber communities for saying this, but I want to repeat myself because maybe some of them didn't hear it, and so they're not mad yet, and I want to make sure everybody's sufficiently mad. I think almost every single one of these companies and the way that they manage talent is incredibly parasitic and extremely harmful. I understand that it's a different culture over there, and I understand that we used to have the same culture with recording industry here, and I think it's bad. I don't agree with the idea that just because it's a different culture means it's okay. I think it's a worse version of management. I think that anytime that you take the autonomy away from another person, that it's bad. I don't care what culture it is, it's still bad. So yeah, I think Nichi Sanji are the ones that are getting farmed for this right now. But I think that in time it will come out that more agencies do the same thing. They have way too much control over these people, and it's unhealthy, and it creates a power imbalance that shouldn't be there. And I'm glad to see that a lot of companies that are more westernized aren't doing this. Asian agencies are known for going scorched earth. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, again, if they want to go do that in their own culture, then they can go do that in their own culture. But whenever you come into an English-speaking audience of our culture and you try to play those games, get the fuck out of here. It's disgusting. This is not how we do things here, and there's a reason for that.